Field of 12 after dark, and this is the most exciting show of the week. No offense to our other shows this week, but you can feel the games on Saturday coming. They are inches away. Speaking of games, right now we're watching Virginia Tech just pour 21 points on NC State in the third quarter. But if you're watching that, we hope you're listening to us as well. We're going to preview every single big game on Saturday, everything you need to know for a full day of watching great football. My name is Greg Waddell. I've got two gentlemen with me tonight that I'm very excited to talk to. We've got Clemson's Darien Rencher. We've got North Carolina's Michael Felder. And I just could not be more excited because, as you see, gentlemen, you know this, it's hate week in the state of Michigan, and I'm ready to talk some football. Felder, it's World Series for you tomorrow. Are you excited? You got to have some energy right now.
Hey, man, let's go Stros, baby. Here we go. Come on, go Stros, go. Let's rock and roll, baby. Deep in the heart of Texas.
And Darien's off a huge win last week, so I know his vibes are up. We may have lost Darien's audio here. Let's see if we can.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Yeah, baby.
A win is a win, baby. A win is a win.
Hey, cheers to that. And as always, you can listen to us on the SiriusXM app. You can find us on the Field of 12 YouTube channel. We do these shows Monday through Thursday. And then, of course, our big show on Saturdays after all the action. If you're watching us on YouTube, please click that subscribe button. We would love to see you in the comments as well. We're going to start this show, as we always do, with our toasts of the evening. I've got a special one. As I alluded to, it's hate week for the Michigan State Spartans and the Michigan Wolverines, so hate is on my mind. But every now and then, you got to say something nice about those people you hate. You got to bring the love. So, gentlemen, Darien, let's go to you first. Let's give a toast to our rivals tonight. What do you got?
All right. I'm giving a toast. Even though I went to Clemson, I'm a Carolina boy. So I was never a major hater of the University of South Carolina. Now, I did always want to keep them in their place, rightfully so. Clemson's the big brother. So I do want to give a shout out to what Shane Beamer's doing down there. The Gamecocks are 5-2, had a big win last week. And look, it's when they're better, the state's better. It's better for everybody. So I'm going to give a salute and a shout out to the Carolina Gamecocks. Hopefully they make a bowl game and they keep it rolling.
Cheers. Here's what I'm going to say. You know what? Give me that good lead in that you gave to him. Okay?
Give him something.
I got you, Felder. You want me to go first here, or you just want the hype up?
I just want the hype up.
Well, I got you then. Listen, hate is a very important thing. Hate can fuel championships. Hate can fuel greatness. And right now, I feel that running through my bones. And Felder, I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah,
there's some hate in that body. Who do you hate, and what do you like about who you hate?
Listen, I love my haters. Of course, you guys get me out of bed every day to go out there and smash your fears and smash your hopes and dreams. I will say this. Here's two things. I'm gonna double dip. I think what's happening with NC State right now, as they are down to Virginia Tech, that's rough. And I don't want that to happen to them. I want Devin Leary to get better. I want Devin Leary to be healthy enough for the NFL draft because I think he's an NFL quarterback.
Right.
And I will say this, though, and you led off with this. You said you're a Carolina boy. Let me tell you something, my man. There's only one Carolina. There's only one of us. Okay? And it's the school of Jordan. It's the school of Lawrence Taylor. Okay? There's only one Carolina. So I'm doing something nice while doing something a little bit bad. But yeah, I got it. You kicked me off. I had to do it.
I respect. Look. If you throw any shade on South Carolina, look, I'm all for it. Look, do your thing. Apparently they're not the real USC, nor are they the real Carolina. So look, you heard it here first on the Field of 12. Look, it is what it is.
I respect. Hey, cheers. For the record, didn't realize we were going to have a tag team situation here, but that's okay. I fully respect it. I wish I had a couple other Spartans in here right now to back me up because I need backup going into this game on Saturday. Listen, the Michigan Wolverines. Yeah. Good football program, historic football program. Sure, absolutely. Respect all of the history. Respect the winged helmets, all of that. What I don't respect about the Michigan Wolverines, I don't respect their arrogance. I don't respect their whole we're better than you. Mike Hart's little brother comments, this air of who's got it better than us that Jim Harbaugh brought to a program he was winning 8 games a year with. So I don't have much nice to say about the Michigan Wolverines football program. What I will toast to kindly is one of the most electric players I've ever seen who wore a Michigan uniform once. That was Denard Robinson, shoelace. Yeah. Pretty humble kid.
He was a monster.
Yes.
Loved watching him play. So the nicest thing I can say about the Wolverines, Denard, hell of a player.
That's the nicest thing you can say.
Denard ain't suiting up on Saturday, Darien. You know that, okay? But Blake Corum is, and that's still a problem for me.
Yeah, you got a problem still. I'll tell you this.
My mouth and drink.
Listen, if I was gonna toast to Michigan, I'd toast to Braylon Edwards, because Braylon did say that he was jealous of my beard. We did a show together, and he said, "Man, I love your beard."
You do have a nice beard. Also, Greg, man, I feel like I was back in like a Friday team meeting. I feel like that's a speech that my man from Michigan State's gonna give to his players. You know,
I hope so. He's got to do something.
A wise Spartan, Mark D'Antonio, once said, "Pride comes before the fall." From there on, Michigan lost about 4 straight games to that team. You've seen it, the muff punts, the improbable losses that the more talented team has taken. They're the more talented team on Saturday, but the more talented team doesn't always win, gentlemen. So I'm going to cheers myself one more time because I'm excited.
Hey, good luck to you, buddy.
We need all the luck we can get. All right, let's jump in. We've got other Big Ten games before we even get to my Michigan State game.
Sure.
We're going to start with Ohio State, the number 2 team in the country, on the road, Happy Valley. Penn State, good football team. We saw them get spanked by the aforementioned Michigan Wolverines. So while this is another test for Penn State, this is the first test for the Buckeyes. Felder, you chimed in already. What do you expect from Ohio State going into this game?
I think they're going to come out and really mash them out. I like this, and this isn't about being an Ohio State fan or not. This is just, I think Ohio State is a team that's better. They're better offensively, obviously, than we know they're better offensively than Michigan. Michigan kind of fiddle-faddled. In the words of my buddy Alex Kushner from Split Zone Duo, Michigan kind of played with their food a little bit when it came to the Penn State game. I think Penn State's devouring. I think Ohio State's devouring Penn State. I think that this is a team that's going to come in and just decide, hey, we started a little bit slow a week ago. Let's go get this work, baby. Let's go put the paws on them. Darien, do you think I'm crazy for thinking that? Because when I look at them, I think that this is a team, they want to start fast.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, obviously, that's kind of interesting to me too. Being on like any type of caliber program like that, the message is always, let's play 4 full quarters. Right. You can look at a lot of teams around the country. Not too many teams as much success as a lot of the top 5 teams have had, but maybe besides the Georgia-Oregon game, not too many teams have come out and played like complete quarters through and through. So that's the message that Ryan Day's telling the guys. So, which to me, a couple of these schools in that top 5, top 6, if they can put together 4 quarters, so a lot of these teams are going to play during the regular stretch. It could get really scary these last 4 games in the regular season. That's the mantra. You want to continue to get better throughout the season because you're not getting better, you get worse. I will say on the flip side, obviously Penn State lost to Michigan last week. Their back is against the wall because I don't know what I guess the rankings. I guess Michigan still can have the head. But say if Penn State goes beats Ohio State beats Michigan, then who gets in? You know, to me that's the messaging. If I'm Franklin, I'm preaching to my guys. It's like, hey, your chips, you can still give yourself a chance. You're not in the driver's seat, but you can put yourself in a chance to maybe sneak back into the championship towards the end. And so there's still a lot of motivation there, a lot of like energy that you can drive into that game. And obviously, they're playing a bigger opponent like they were last week. And it's like, hey, we didn't get the job done last week. Let's bounce back. And they go beat Ohio State. Then look, hey, you know what I'm saying? Your destiny, it could be right in front of you.
Right.
So we know who gets in, though, right? Like deep down, like we could say,
"Oh yeah, facts."
Three-way tie. We know who gets in. Facts. It's Ohio State, and I'm also to that point though. I'm kind of like I'm a little bit questioning where James Franklin's head is at right now, and maybe you guys haven't seen this or not, but like there's a lot of headlines being made that have nothing to do with this Ohio State game that are coming from James Franklin's mouth right now, and I don't know whether it's just distractions, whether it's intentional or not, but like today he made headlines in a press conference basically defending how the institution of Penn State football didn't help him capitalize on their success in 2016, like 6 years ago, why they're so far behind Ohio State now. He had the whole scuffle with Michigan a couple weeks ago. That's still being talked about in the press conference. I have no idea what that means, but I just don't exactly trust James Franklin to come in and be the motivator that a Penn State team would need to upset Ohio State in this spot. I guess, Darien, from like a recent player's perspective, right? Like, does what your coach is saying publicly before a marquee game like this ever matter to the players or no?
No, it definitely does. Hey, look, I'm gonna keep it 100% real. It definitely does. Cause look, here's the incident for me. This isn't a hypothetical. I had a coach of mine make a comment before we played Ohio State in 2020. That the Ohio State was the 11th ranked team in the country. Wow. And when I tell you Ohio State came out for blood that game, oh my gosh. We were all, and Coach, whenever he came in, he was like, look, I said something to the media that y'all got to have my back for. And we were like, yeah, we got you, Coach. And he said, I ranked them 11. He was like, they didn't play a full season. And that made headlines. And literally Ohio State boat raced us. And so I just think whether it's the player's perspective or the opposing team's perspective, I just think that it definitely matters. And it can give people a little more edge or feel like you're not focused. It's just anything. I think it can definitely serve as a distraction, whether you think it is or not. But I feel like the end result is going to that's going to be sprinkled in there. So I would definitely say yes. But at the same time, as a player, like, as much you want to keep your focus and control, you don't want anything to distract you. So they're probably like, hey, let's just let that be what it is. Let's focus on the game. But at the same time, like I said, it's all sprinkled in there. It's definitely going to come to life at some point.
Yeah. The big thing for me, I think about that. And I think about, I played with Gerald Sensabaugh, and Gerald, when we played Miami in 2004, and don't worry, Greg, I know that you said recent players. You called me old.
I knew you'd call me out for that dig, Felder. I knew it.
But with Gerald said Miami, he goes, they run 4 plays. They run 4 plays. They just do it out of like a bunch of different formations, but it's only 4 plays. We got this. And so it's bulletin board material. You put it up there. You deal with it. But guess what? We won that football game because Gerald was right. Gerald was the one, what's the saying? You weren't with me shooting in the gym.
Facts.
But Gerald was in the gym all day. And that was one of the only reason I probably have this job is because of Gerald, because I used to spend all day with him watching film. And he taught me more about football than I probably learned from any coach. So the big thing for me is you have to figure out where this fits. And for Franklin, if you're worried about stuff that's not the football part of it, that's the problem. That's where what you mentioned, Greg, that's where that comes into me, where you worry about stuff that's not football. So you got to get in there and you got to play. You don't have the same roster as them. By the way, can I just say this Ohio State defense, oh boy, they're cooking with gas. They are cooking with gas. No stars, but they got a bunch of dudes that are, listen, they line up and Darien, you know what? Tell me about this.
Awesome.
When you see 2 safeties lined up with their heels at 8 yards on 1st and 10, and you're on your own 12-yard line, and they're lined up with their heels at 8 yards, and they're not afraid because they're playing cover 0. Like, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, either they are really smart and really good or really stupid. And I'm assuming they ain't stupid.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, they're really good. And their coach has got a lot of trust in them. Because not two teams can do that, because you will get torched. But if you can do that, you can eliminate the pass and you can control the run, which makes it really tough on the opposing team.
Exactly. And that's what I think we're going to see against Penn State. It's going to be really hard for those guys to run the football. It's going to be really hard for Sean Clifford to throw the football.
So, right. And if you look at like Ohio State, that's why you go to Ohio State as a DB.
Yeah.
They trust you. You're going to put you on the island. And if you're going to come here and beat a guy, you're going to have every opportunity to. So it's going to be a big day for Sean Clifford and the boys. or it's going to be a long day.
Let me ask you guys this, and then we can move on to our next game. But Felder, you said, I mean, you don't envision this happening, so play along in my hypothetical.
I am. I'm playing.
The world.
All right, talk to me.
Let's say we close our eyes and imagine a fourth quarter commercial break. They're going to the huddle. It's not a whiteout because it's a noon game, which is stupid, but that place is rocking. And Penn State is down 3 points going into the fourth quarter. How has that happened, Felder? What is Penn State doing? What are they capitalizing to make that a game that late in the game?
Pressure on C.J. Stroud. Yeah. Turnover, probably a turnover that goes for a score or goes into the 10, inside the 10, and finding a way to stop the run. That's the way it happens. That's the way that it happens. That's the way we saw Iowa have some success. It's the same thing. They're going to have to do those things. What do you got?
Yeah, I would say if I'm envisioning it, it's they come out, get up on the board early, get a couple stops. I don't know how they do that, whether it's pressure or whatever, but they get a couple stops, and I think they just have the momentum. Like I think they either keep them give them a long field or whatnot. But I think they probably, to me, if that's the case, it's like a 27-21 game. They might be up, but not about. We said 3 points. I see it being like a low-scoring game. I don't see them like blowing them out or it being like a crazy shootout. If a Penn State wins this game, I feel like it'll be like a 35-28 game.
Whoa! Do you think that Penn State can win this game if the game plays into the 30s?
You think they're gonna outscore? Obviously, they have to outscore them, but I can't see them like. To me, the game will be slower than fast if they win this game.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So to me, if Penn State's winning, what we're talking about is a game that plays in the 20s.
Oh, you think it's a 20s game?
No, I don't think it's a 20s game. I think it's a 40s game, and I think Penn State loses by 2 touchdowns.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, for Penn State to win, they need this game to play into the 20s.
Right.
And that means turnovers. That means doing a poor job on third down conversions. That's what I'm trying to say is, for Penn State to win this game cannot get because guess what? Every time you score, you give C.J. Stroud the ball back.
Right.
Every time you score, every time you punt, you give him the ball back. Every possession you get, he gets a possession. Listen, and I'm not a huge college basketball fan, but I did go to UNC.
You did.
And Roy Williams' entire strategy is rooted in my guys are better than your guys. So the more possessions that I have, the more times I score and the more times you miss, which means I'm going to keep winning. And the more possessions that Ohio State has, the more times they score and the more they're going to win. And that's they literally are operating. Ohio State operates on the secondary break. Look at that. Look at this college football guy talking a little college hoops.
I love it. I mean, I feel like you have to. You're obligated to. It's in your blood when you're a North Carolina.
Right.
Kudos. For the record, I'll just fire off some numbers, then we'll move to our SEC game here. But 5 straight in this matchup. Ohio State has won. 5 straight in this matchup have been decided by 13 points or less, with a couple 1-point games in there.
Sure.
There has not been a true blowout in this series in the last 5 years. No one in this series has ever won 6 straight games against each other. So food for thought. If you're going to go sprinkle some money at Bet Rivers, would be unprecedented if Ohio State does come in and just fire off on Penn State.
Right. Yeah, but this ain't Mike Gesicki, Trace McSorley, Saquon Barkley,
Christian Hackenberg even. I mean, we're missing some dudes in the white and blue this week.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move to the SEC where we've got Tennessee hosting the Kentucky Wildcats. This is the classic trap game look-ahead spot for Tennessee. They've got Georgia a week from Saturday. And Kentucky, with Will Levis back, is a different football team, obviously.
Yes, they are.
Levis. So let's go. We'll go to Darien first on this one. What are the odds that Tennessee gets caught looking ahead in this spot?
I think it's likely. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I would just say off the top, you mentioned a couple of names I think are really important to hit on. If you're going into the season, right, take us back to August, begin like week 1, going into that. If you'd have predicted, if you just went stat lines and numbers, who will have this season, people would have put their money on Will Levis. That's just like just off
Sure.
what he did coming into the season and the hype behind him. Nobody saw Hendon Hooker having this season. So to me, I think it's a really good game for Will Levis to put his name back in the hat. I think his name's kind of fell off. I think he's still like a top QB in this upcoming draft. I think he's a prominent prospect, but he definitely hasn't had like the season that he thought he was going to have. Being hurt, kind of balance some stuff. So to me, if I'm him and I'm Kentucky, like this is a game. Because who would have thought? They probably thought it would have been like Alabama or Georgia or whatever, who they would play. But they're playing Tennessee, and this is the game that everybody's going to watch. You win this game, like your name is back up there buzzing. So I think that's kind of the mindset I think Kentucky's going to have with Stoops is like they come in there and look, let's go upset them. And it's like, I don't know, maybe you have the stats. I don't really know who won the past couple of years, but I would assume it's not like nobody's just won that entire rivalry the past 5 years. It's probably been split. So I feel like even though Tennessee, that's the thing about rankings, even though Tennessee's ranked, Kentucky's like, that's still Tennessee. You know, like they ain't been a top 5 team the past 5 years. They've been a team that's been battling and building that program. So if I'm Kentucky, I think if I'm the coach, I'm disregarding the ranking and I'm saying, hey, this is Tennessee who we played the past couple of years. Let's go in there and beat Kentucky. If I'm Tennessee, though, look, if I'm Bill Heupel, Coach Heupel, I am saying if we're a championship contending program, we got to win week to week. Because you look at the ones who do it, the Clemsons, Ohio States, the Bamas. That's probably the three I'll probably name up there, the Michigans. You got to win week in and week out. Like, because it would be a true fluke to them if they go into the Georgia game not undefeated. Because I feel that it shows that their focus is not championship level caliber. But if they are, which they've shown up to this point, look, go win this game. And it's a one season mentality, 1 week mentality. Go win this game and let's go see what happens.
I did pull the numbers real quick, and then I'll throw back to you, Phil.
Yep. Yeah, talk to me.
Kentucky has won 2 of the last 5 in this series. Tennessee won last year, 3-point ball game. Kentucky blew them out 34-7 2 games ago. So it has been pretty back and forth. Will Levis has been involved in 2 different sides of this rivalry.
And that's what I'm telling. You know what I'm saying? As a coach, that's what you're telling the guys. You gotta find. Look, coaches find angles. Like you've been in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? They find angles to use, and that's the angle. And we beat these guys. These are the same guys we beat 2 years ago. Whatever, blew them out.
Here, hold on. I'm hopping in here quick. I got a stat for you. This is a good one. Kentucky though 1-17 in the last 18 meetings at Neyland Stadium. So keep that in mind.
Wow.
I was gonna go with the 53-14-5 record, where this is how I can tell that, like, obviously, Darren, you're a more recent football player than I am, because Kentucky does feel like they're less of they feel like they know what they're doing,
right,
compared to Tennessee. But when I was growing up, Tennessee was the jam, dog. They were the best. Like we had like every person from Charlotte that was any good at football, they went to Tennessee. Tennessee was a beast. And
who was coming out? Was that T. Martin?
T. Martin was there, but we had D'Angelo Lloyd and we had Peter Boulware and we had Omar Gaither, and these guys all went and played at Tennessee because Tennessee was the heat. And then Tennessee Tennessee feels like some sort of a monster that's been lost in the woods for a long time. And they have been. It's since 2000, we'll call it 2007. They've been lost in the woods. So
the brightest spot of Tennessee the past 5 years has been Alvin Kamara.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, look, besides this year, Alvin Kamara has been the brightest thing to come out of Neyland Stadium.
No, you're not wrong. But what I'm looking at is Tennessee. Here's the scary part. And I'm not trying to hijack Greg, but like Tennessee fans are like, they're waiting for the shoe to drop. They're terrified at the idea that they might actually be good, because then it's like
this can't be real, you know?
Right. Like this can't be life. What if it's wrong? This can't be right. Like they're terrified. So for me, when I look at this game, I agree with you. I need Tennessee to step up and push to make sure. And I think that Heupel, as a guy coming from a remarkable winning culture, when you throw in Oklahoma, obviously some of the things he did at UCF, but him coming from that, I think is going to instill in them this idea. Tennessee did a thing that, and I think you could probably speak to this with Clemson, with Dabo, right? Where you separate from what you used to do.
Right.
You're different
Right.
now.
Right.
This is who we are. We're not trying to get the old feeling back. What we're trying to do is be this new version that's really good.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing that right now. And I think having a guy who's not steeped in that culture, having a guy who just came in through what did the channels that Heupel went through from Oklahoma to UCF, all that stuff, he went through he doesn't care. Tennessee was just the best job that he could get. So he brought his stuff here. He wasn't a Tennessee fan growing up. He didn't go to Tennessee. He's not connected to Tennessee. So what he wants to do is build his own culture. And I think that speed and space, I think that persists. I love it. I actually saw a wrinkle last week where we're seeing teams use speed and space against people. Baylor. They brought back the tunnel screen. And I was like, who runs tunnel screens? They don't run tunnel screens anymore. And,
Clemson around tunnel screens, I tell you.
But everyone was so far outside, worried about that bubble and getting to the outside that they were able to get back inside of it. It's essentially an A-gap run that happened at the hash mark because everyone was so worried about outside. But the point I'm making is they're addicted to tempo. When you watch Tennessee play, and I've said this on the show before, watch their wide receivers. When they catch the football and get tackled, the first thing that they do is look for the referee. Where are you at? Where are you at? Let's spot the ball. Let's play. And I love that about them. So for me, I don't think that they're going to lose this weekend. I think this is a rough game, but this goes back to something we mentioned with Ohio State and Penn State as well. If this game is in the 20s, Kentucky's got a fighting chance. This game gets into the 40s. This game gets into the 40s, now you got a problem. Right. And we just saw Tennessee play Alabama in a game that was in the 40s, and that's a place that Alabama does not want to live. It's a place Kentucky doesn't want to live. And it's a place where Tennessee ultimately got the biggest win of this current college football season.
Right. So I'll just fire numbers at you again because that's what I'm here for tonight. So Kentucky, 3 ranked games this season.
Yeah.
In all 3, they've covered, and it hasn't really been close. So they played above expectation against the 3 best teams on their schedule. If you're looking for what those actual games were, they beat Florida by 10. They beat Mississippi State by 10. They lost to Ole Miss by 3. But honestly, if you watch that game, that was a game that was really in their grasp for much of the game. So going back to one thing you said really stood out to me, Felder, and I sort of alluded to this, but not as concisely as you did this morning when we were doing the Best Bets show. It feels like with this Tennessee team this year, anytime they've been in a dice roll situation where the cards might not fall their way, they've somehow fallen their way. And that's not to take anything away from them because they obviously earned the win against Alabama. But, they survived that fumble at the goal line that could have given the game away. Against Florida, Anthony Richardson had the ball with a game-winning potential last play of the game. And I don't think any of us would point our fingers at Florida and say they're some world beaters at this point. So I think it's fair to say Tennessee could be in the conversation for number 1 overall in the country right now based on what they've done. But if they keep putting themselves into positions where it's a dice roll, I mean, teams can only go so many times where they roll ones and it comes up. So I guess to leave this, I'll leave you guys with this. Like, is Kentucky, the way they are built and the way they want to play football, are they the type of team that if they do find themselves in a fourth quarter and dice roll, do they have the stuff to go take that game? Yes or no? Father, what do you think?
I think they do. I think because they're so dangerous offensively, and this is something – listen, I've had a hard time coming to terms with this as a defensive guy. But the reality is the way that the rules are set up, the way that games are called, the way that football works up right now, offense rules the world. We've seen Nick Saban adjust to it, right? We've seen him realize I do have to score 49 points to even be in this football game. So I think that's the key. And I'm sorry, when you saw me just do this, Virginia Tech just had an insane play where they fumbled the kick and then got hit, fumbled it again, and it fumbled right to another guy where they ultimately didn't turn the ball over. It was insane. So there's a lot going on right now. I'm trying to keep up with everything. But no, I think offense rules the world. And because here's the reality. Tennessee's going to be out there on a limb by themselves. You know what's going to happen? They're going to get a pass interference that gives them a free first down.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen. That's the reality of college football. That's the reality of football right now. Am I wrong, Darren?
You're right. You're right. Look, I agree. I think they have enough to get it done. And that's why I was kind of, like I said, I'm not a firm believer they're going to do it, but it's not a crazy take to say this can't be Kentucky. This can't be Kentucky's game to kind of get back in the fold.
Yeah, they're in the conversation. It's there for the take.
Sure.
All right, we'll go to the Big 12 next, where a game, I think it feels on paper like there might be some unknowns that could swing this game. It's Oklahoma State at Kansas State. And the unknowns I'm alluding to are the health of the Kansas State quarterback position. Adrian Martinez did not play last week. Their backup quarterback was in. Their backup quarterback was playing pretty damn well. Got him to a 28-10 lead. All of a sudden, he goes down, the third stringer is in, and it fell apart from there. At this point, both these teams, one loss in the Big 12, so you can say they're right there in the conversation to still win the Big 12 conference. However, Kansas State had the non-conference loss, so you don't know what that does to them mentally here. Oklahoma State, I think, certainly feels like they are still in this game. Felder, let's go to you first. This line at Bet Rivers is essentially a pick'em. So, which surprises me a little bit, given Kansas State's unknowns, and also given the fact that Oklahoma State, I mean, last week, just impressed in that win against Texas. Quinn Ewers' air-mailing throws had to help them a little bit, but they capitalized. So, do you believe that this Oklahoma State team is for real? And if so, they win this game, right?
I think they win the game. I think they are for real. We'll see if we get to see Adrian Martinez. Maybe it's Will Howard. Maybe it's Jake Rubley. But the key for me is Oklahoma State's defense has been better and better every week. And that's the part that really stands out to me is how much better they're getting. They're getting more comfortable in their own skin. Obviously, when you lose a guy like a Malcolm Rodriguez, it's going to be really tough to replace him as a key cog. So these guys are getting better every week. And I've talked about this before, but we had a Chuba Hubbard Oklahoma State team. Then we had a defensive Oklahoma State team with Jim Knowles. Now we've got a Spencer Sanders Oklahoma State team. And he's finally stepped in. Him and Max Duggan, to me, are kind of tied together as guys who we've seen play for 3-4 years that they're finally stepping up into it. And I love what they're doing. I think that Kansas State can be better. Even without Adrian Martinez, they'll be better than they were a week ago because what people don't realize is the way that reps work in practice. And when you don't get reps in practice, it's really hard to get thrust into a football game and go out and compete and do your thing. We've seen a handful of guys do it really well. Anthony Richardson a season ago coming in for Emory Johnson, or Caleb Williams a year ago coming in for Spencer Rattler. But what Howard and Rubley were tasked with doing was really rough because you don't get those reps in practice, and we saw them make those mistakes in terms of those interceptions. I think that Oklahoma State wins this football game. This is going to be it's going to be a good game. And I think the Big 12 is one of those conferences that's, what do they have? They got 4-5 teams that are still poised to have an opportunity to win.
Right. They're all in the mix. Yeah. That was one of the conferences I looked at, like, just throughout the season, to me, has, like, probably the most competitive depth. The Pac-12 is kind of, to me, kind of teetering out a little bit. But I look at, like, the Big 12 as, like, any one of those teams could kind of emerge. Obviously, TCU's kind of ran through the pack as of now, and they're the front runner. But you look at everybody else is 1 or 2 losses away from really, like, from, you know what I'm saying, getting to that point of being in the Big 12 championship and making it theirs. I would just say, I think Adrian Martinez being out definitely hurts. Like, him and Deuce Vaughn have had, like, a nice little tandem.
Yes.
They've been really good. They've been really good together. Adrian Martinez coming and through the portal has been huge for them. Just as he added some difference to the offense, which Deuce was kind of there doing that, but now you get a true playmaker at the quarterback position. So definitely it's going to affect them. And they're one of those teams, like, I wish he was full-fledged because they've been playing really well and playing with a lot of passion. And as a team, like, team morale-wise, they gave up one early in the season to a team they shouldn't have lost to. And if I'm being real, obviously they said they would want to win every game, but it's like a realist a little bit here. That was a game I felt they wish they could have back. The TCU game they lost is one of those games where, like, you kind of just charge that one to the game. It's like, all right, we
Sure.
lost that game, but like we're still having a good season. And it's now, to me, this week's a big week for them because like you go from giving up a mulligan, losing to a good team, and now you're 5-3. And to me, it could go back really close to how it's been in the past instead of the momentum they've been riding with throughout the entire season. So I would love to see them get a big win here. Do I think they're gonna do it? Probably not. But I know as Kansas State, that kind of backs against the wall. Hey, let's go continue to have a great season and let's make this like a 8-4, 9-3 year.
I will just say that I do stand Tulane, just for the record. I stand Tulane all day. Like, they are one of the most fun defenses to watch in the country.
Hey, you're not alone. Rob Doster loves his Tulane athletics as well.
Hey, Tulane's got a special place in my heart as well. Every year we went to Sugar Bowl, which has a curse on Clemson. We've 0-3 there during my career. But we practice at Tulane every year. We were practicing Tulane down in New Orleans. And so Tulane, look, shout out to the boys.
Yeah. We'll save our official picks until the end of the show, but just for the record, I do feel a little uneasy that it feels like this is a massive public is on Oklahoma State game. Anytime that happens, I usually try to jump ship. I do. My gut tells me Oklahoma State should win this game, but it feels like everybody's saying that. So I've got my eye on it. We're watching that in the Greg Waddell offices of Making Money.
Got it.
Let's move on to my game. I can't believe they made me wait 36 minutes to get here. And by the way, if you're listening to us on the SiriusXM app, we love you. We're here 4 nights a week, also on Saturdays, making it 5 nights a week. And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, click subscribe. Field of 12 is where you can find us. Michigan State at number 4, Michigan. J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, all that talent in Ann Arbor, it's there. Mel Tucker, super underwhelming in year 3 for Michigan State. Had the great year last year. Kenneth Walker is in Seattle running for 90-yard touchdowns. This team looks nothing like that. But weird things happen in rivalry games in general, specifically in this rivalry, though. Darien, am I crazy for thinking Michigan State could keep this a game?
You are definitely crazy. Look, but I'm just keeping it real. I'm looking at y'all 1-3 in the conference right now. It's a tough one. Look, go get another bottle too. Go get another bottle.
Man.
I think it's tough, bro. Even last year, you probably could have convinced me a little more. Kenneth Walker, y'all are having a good season, but this year, I just think y'all are wounded, bro, and I think it's gonna get ugly. And where's the game at?
Ann Arbor.
Okay, that's good. So there'll still be some fans in the stands. I think if it was at y'all's place, hey, it would have been empty, bro. I think it's gonna be one of those games. And look, I've been in some rivalry games like that where you go just boat race the other team, and it's just like, hey, it is what it is, man. This ain't really a rivalry, but for a chance for family members to come, have some drinks, and you wear your favorite colors. That's about it, bro. But as far as the game goes, I think it's wraps, bro.
You're doing me dirty right now, but you're honest, which I respect. That's why we love you, Darien. This is also a night game. I believe they just announced kickoff is 7:44 p.m. Eastern. So anybody in that stadium is going to have a chance to be boozed up for this one. I don't know what that does to the game, but Felder, I mean, just go ahead and put me down. Go ahead and just stab me.
Listen, yeah, man, I got to take you behind the shed like Old Yeller, my man. This ain't going to be a good one. This is my wife's going to trunk or treat. So, like, she's not even watching. She's going to trunk or treat, my man. Like, and she went to Michigan State, and she's ready. She's like, you know what? We're gonna just take the kid out, and we're doing trunk or treat because I think the most interesting aspect of this game, and the two things that I've kind of tied together have been Mel Tucker versus Jimbo Fisher, and two guys that Jimbo got the huge initial contract. Mel Tucker got that huge raise. And both of them in 2022 have not looked even close to what we thought they should or could be. And it's for different reasons, obviously. Mel Tucker did it through the portal, Jimbo, obviously, with the NIL collective. But, like, is it how many years? Like, I guess for me, like, you can't get upset about Mel Tucker this year because he just put a bunch of guys into the NFL and they're doing their thing and yada, yada, yada. But I also am not like, if you look, no, Greg, you tell me, are you excited about the future of Michigan State football right now?
Yes and no, because Mel is still, look, I'm going to have to talk myself into it. It is what it is. You guys understand. Like,
Right.
if you've been a part of a program,
manifestation, bro. Look. You give us the best part of what you got right now.
Listen,
and make me believe it.
So Mel, this is going to make me angry because I am one of the more critical Michigan State fans. Like, if any Michigan State fans are watching this, they're probably like spitting their drink out that I'm even portraying myself as this big Michigan State fan right now, because I've been very vocally critical of Mel Tucker this year.
Sure.
And I think rightfully so.
Well, he's a defensive backs coach, and their defensive backs
horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And it's not just that though. Like, it's game management stuff. Like, we almost blew the Wisconsin game at the end of last week because we had one timeout and we couldn't figure out to run a draw play, run 20 seconds off the clock, take the timeout, and kick the field goal. We had to run the kicker on. He misses the field goal. We go to double overtime, and because our wide receivers can win 50-50 balls, we come away with a win. But, like, is that what we're paying $95 million for? Is that type of game management? And that's elementary stuff.
Yes.
That's not even schematic. It's just very simple, elementary coaching decisions. And Mel to me is a marketing guy more than anything else. And that can be perceived as a dig, but he definitely comes across as a cool type coach. I think he can appeal to players, whether it's in the portal, whether it's on the recruiting trail. We just lost a big recruit today, actually, for the record. So it's not like things are all fine and dandy there, but I do think like Kenneth Walker just plugged so many holes for this team last year. And if we're being honest about it, last year's Michigan State team was more like a 6-6 team that had a lot of things go their way in crunch time and had a generational talent at running back. And look, Kenneth Walker had 5 touchdowns in this rivalry game last year, and it still took J.J. McCarthy fumbling the ball at midfield for Michigan State to win that game. So I don't obviously this year's not the year, and I don't think we're going to kill him for that. But if there aren't signs of improvement next season, like if this is another 4-8 football team a year from now, then you're going to hear the people bark. So
here's a conversation I think Mike, you hit on earlier, but just as you think about like the similarities between Jimbo Fisher and Mel Tucker, right? I don't know whose fault it is. Maybe it's the administration, maybe it's the coach's philosophy, but you really see the difference in like building a good program and building a good team, right?
Yes.
So for Jimbo's perspective, it's like, all right, let's go get as many kids for this upcoming year's team. It obviously didn't work out, but we're going to use NIL to do that, right? For Mel Tucker, I had one of my friends, I think his dad played at Michigan State last year. I think they took 30 transfer kids last year.
Yes.
They were pushing kids. I guess you know the story. Yeah. When I heard it in the locker room, I was like, bro, what? I can't imagine that as like a player on a team. They were pushing kids out, and they brought in 30 transfers.
Yep.
Obviously, it resulted in like temporary success. But that you can't build a program like that.
It's not sustainable.
And that's where, to me, if you're gonna pay somebody that much money, I feel you gotta have a real plan of like a plan to like nurture the talent you have there. Obviously, the portal is gonna be there, so kids like any top program gonna leave, but you gotta be loyal to you gotta really build a program. You gotta be loyal to the freshmen, sophomores that are there, and help them grow. Because like at the end of the day, that's how you build a team, not just like a one year kind of success story. And so I think they're both struggling because that's their philosophies. And it'll be kind of celebrated for a year, but you look at the longevity of like what they're trying to build. You can't. That's not how Bama was built, Clemson was built, or Ohio State's built. And I think that's what they want to. That's what they want to be,
Yeah.
But it's like you can't.
I'll go quick. Listen, I think, and this is the thing that I've said. You got to. The thing I love about Clemson is the low attrition rate. The thing I love about Alabama is they don't mind attrition because they've got other guys that are going to step in and play. They don't have to go to the portal, with the exception of someone like a Toto or a Burton, whatever it is. But the reality of it is they don't live in the portal. Michigan State lived in the portal that year, but all of Michigan State's prior success, they were loyal to the soil. They recruited that state and made kids that didn't get that offer from Michigan, made them feel like that place was home. That's the difference. That's the part that matters. That's the part that's going to be interesting. I know we got a lot of ground to cover because we got to get Dagan in here to get the game picks. So Do we want to do? Can we hit these last three real quick before we get to the picks?
We'll run through them very, very quickly. But look, you're bringing up memory lane for me. Just saying a little bit of soil, man. We had the no-fly zone a couple years ago. Now we're handing out frequent flyer miles to anybody that we come up against. So I want to see this fixed. I'm just saying that, and I'm not saying it can't happen. Just here's to that.
There we go.
Josh Martin's out here Saturday. Have some hope, at least until.
Hey, there's a way. There's a way. There's a way.
There's a way. All right, let's go SEC. As you mentioned, Felder, we got about 15 minutes left in the show. We got 3 more games to get through before we do our picks. If you're listening to us again and you want to hear the picks after, jump over to the YouTube channel. You can hear us go through the 12 biggest games of the weekend. Producer Dagan will jump in as well. We keep our records on those, so we'll make our official picks at the end of the show. But first, Florida against the number 1 team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs. This line right now, 22.5 points is what Georgia is favored in this game. That's a lot of points for a team that did not cover that many points against Kent State and Missouri. And I'll just throw this out there. Florida did have a 1-possession ball game against the Tennessee Volunteers. Ball in Anthony Richardson's hands to make a play late. It didn't happen. So, look, I feel like I'm trying to talk you guys into upsets tonight.
Yeah.
But how shocked would you be, Felder, if Florida is in this game in the final 5 minutes?
10 out of 10.
Wow.
10 out of 10. I here's the thing. Here's a question. Is like we spend so much time talking about Anthony Richardson. Are there any other good players on Florida's offense?
Yeah, they should play Trevor Etienne a little more. I'm biased.
Right?
Look, I'm an Etienne fan. Look,
but right. So you have a guy.
Yeah.
A guy.
I don't know.
Who should they throw it to? Who do you think they should throw it to?
The open guy. I don't know. Look, I don't know. I'm on the same boat as you. Look, is just because
he can't do it by himself.
I don't even think what is he doing by himself though? I mean, I'm saying like even him, I think he had a lot of hype. Yeah, he had a lot of hype.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the whole Tebow thing beginning of the season.
Yes.
I remember they showed him like putting up the quarterbacks in the SEC. They were ranked higher than him, which they still are because they're playing better ball. I think the kid's super talented. You know what I'm saying? Like
I agree.
Like when I was playing, like he looks like a freak. He makes spectacular plays, but they aren't consistent.
He doesn't make regular plays though.
Like that's the crazy part. One of the quotes he used to have was like, "All right, you make the routine play all the time. You make the impossible play most of the time." He makes the impossible plays like most of the time. He never makes routine plays, and
right.
it's just tough to really build a sustainable like. Really, just the quarterback is the leader of the team for the most part to build that around him when it's just not like it's not consistent. And so for me, I see Georgia really like I see Georgia embarrassing them, and mainly because I think the morale at Florida is one to get really up
and really down.
I think Florida Tennessee have very similarities of like just program culture. Like if Florida would have been up this year, like their fan base would have been crazy. And you know what I'm saying? But it also isn't a crazy thing for Florida to be down. It's like, all right, this is just another year. Hopefully Bill Napier can turn that around. Here's Clemson guy.
Here's the thing I think is different. I think Tennessee fans, they're a lot more like NC State fans, where they're waiting for something bad to happen to them.
Right.
And Florida fans are more like USC fans, where they're like, why don't we score 100 points every game?
Right. They're a little more optimistic. That's a great point. I like that analogy. Look, and so I think Florida, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I just think that and if they're going to win this game, they got to really have a strong belief system. And I feel like any adversity that doesn't go their way this game, I feel like it's going to go into the narrative like,
bingo.
All right, we're just going to suck this year. It's not going to work. So for them to win this game, they almost got to play super flawless the first 2 quarters. They got to be in the driver's seat going to the second half or something. But other than that, I can't see them fighting back and rallying back to get a win.
Let me ask you this. The top 100 passers. Let me check the numbers. Top 100 passers.
Don't do this.
I know where you're going to.
Completion percentage.
Oh, no.
He's not in the top 100 completion percentage.
No.
It's tough, man.
That's rough. And we're not talking about deep balls. We're talking about intermediate shallow.
Right, just completing the ball. Yeah, I know.
And I don't want to bag on it. I never want to bag on kids. Like I'm not here to do that. Like the thing for me is when I look at it, he's got a long way to go.
Right.
So
I want him to get better. I want him to be there because he only has 170 pass attempts this year through 7 games.
Let me flip this quickly because I don't think, to your point, I don't think there's anybody out there who wants Anthony Richardson to get better than this very network. We spent 2 weeks at the top of the season.
Yeah, we did.
Right stung in the shroud of college football. But look, against Tennessee, who I shouldn't make a comparison between Tennessee's defense and Georgia's defense, but
sure,
here we are. He had 453 yards passing against Tennessee, who's now the number 3 team in the country. And to me, that was a game because of the way Anthony Richardson played in that game. So, like, is there a world where he can do that again against this Georgia team, or are we just giving it no hope?
No, I don't think it's – I think it's definitely possible. It's possible. But to me, that's what it's going to take. For them to win this game, he's got to play like a Heisman contender. Even though he's out of the Heisman race, he's got to play like that caliber of player for them to have a chance.
Yeah,
that's it. Like Hendon Hooker is playing Hendon Hooker is the front runner for the Heisman. That's why Tennessee is doing what they're doing. In order for them to have a chance in this game, Anthony Richardson has to play like a Heisman contender.
Yeah, I also think that's the idea of possessions, which we talked about a little bit with that Roy Williams analogy, where Tennessee was just going up and down and up and down and up and down. So he got more opportunities. He threw the ball 44 times.
Yeah,
he's only thrown the ball over 30 times one other time this season. So to me, one of the big things for me with football is, what does your coach let you do? And the first time I noticed this was with Jalen Hurts. With Jalen Hurts, they didn't let him throw the ball past, 12, 15 yards for the most part at Alabama? Because they were like, we don't trust you to do this. With Nick Marshall at Auburn, they didn't let him really throw the ball deep. And it's because they don't think you can do it. And with the exception of the Tennessee game, doesn't really throw the ball. And he certainly doesn't throw the ball far. And that's the part that's going to be interesting, because let's be real. The Missouri game, he threw for 66 yards. Let's flip it. Do we want to
right? You got two extremes.
Don't flip it. Don't flip it. I'll speak for all Florida fans. Don't flip it. Don't flip it. We're good. Let's just talk about the game that he was.
No. Hang on. I'm doing the math right now. 453. That's 9. That's the 1. Carry the 1. 519. 519 divided by 2. So between those 2 games, Tennessee and in the Missouri game, Tennessee, that's 2. That's 4. 1.
We got some quick math going on.
5 right here. That's another 1. 19. So that's another 9. So that's 259 yards. That's the average between those 2 games.
Yeah, and that's not going to cut it against Georgia. Period.
Bingo. That's the point.
You're right. Yeah, he needs the spectacular version of himself that maybe comes out every 6 games, if we're being generous, in order to have a chance in this football game.
The Tennessee game was the best game that he's ever played.
Yeah.
Every other game, the Tennessee game's the best game that he ever had. And then the rest of the games are 168, 143, 112, 240, 66, and 185.
Yeah, and it still wasn't enough. So. Yeah. And you probably need more than that against Georgia.
But he needs help. He needs help.
Right.
He needs help.
Right.
Who's he throwing the ball to? I love this. I love their tight end, but who else?
The open guy.
What is it? Zipperer? Keon Zipperer, right? I like him. I think he's good. But like Justin Shorter, I thought was going to be a star when he was going to go to Penn State and play with Justin Fields, and then it didn't work out. Purcell is a guy that comes in and he's manageable, but he's not a superstar. Henderson is okay. I think Zipper is probably their best pass catcher, but they don't get him the ball nearly enough. So, you got to find weapons. And I don't think if you don't have weapons and you can't challenge Georgia and you can't make Georgia play into the 30s, into the 40s, where Stetson Bennett has to win the football game, because we haven't talked about Georgia. If you can't make Stetson Bennett win the football game, then what are we doing?
Right. 100%. All right. We're going to jump and we're going to talk TCU against West Virginia here, because TCU sits alone at the top of the Big 12, and that's impressive. I looked at their schedule, by the way. They do
Yeah.
not play a ranked team the rest of the way.
They already played them.
I was going to say, I know some teams have come in and out of the rankings. Some might have been better at the beginning of the season before we know what they are. But TCU has really gotten through the gauntlet unscathed of the Big 12. And a lot of people everywhere are saying, hey, no one's going to get out of this conference unscathed. Well, they're going to have to drop one they shouldn't drop at this point in order for that to happen. This week, they go at West Virginia. And my good friend, my co-host of the Best Bets show, Jimmy Ott, picked West Virginia outright to win this game. So it's not like it's crazy. But we have to ask the question, because if you go through TCU's schedule, they have had a series of injuries to opposing teams like I have never seen.
Oh, yeah.
Is this TCU football team the luckiest team in college football? Darien, what do you think?
All right, so here's where I'm going with it. I'm gonna say this. So people, as much as I do want to see playoff expansion, there's a reason that 4 teams have been like the way it's been. Like there was a reason that somebody said to the committee, "So we're gonna pick 4 teams to be the CFP." It's because when you get down to it, through 12 games, I feel like the real contenders are going to prove themselves. And for TCU as a program, like you said, I think they have done a lot of hard work, which I commend them. And Matt, like the Dunnigan kid, he's balling. I think their program they've earned it. But at the same time, to me, championship teams, they finish through 12 games. And so if they are going to be a true contender, these next 4 games or whatever they have, 3 games they have left are really going to decide their culture. Because it happens every year. There's going to be somebody who lays an egg. Like it's going to happen. It's not like it's like really win. One of these top teams and so one of these conferences is going to lose a game they should have won. And I don't know which team it's going to be for TCU, and I'm not saying they can't go undefeated, but it would surprise me for them to lay an egg these next couple weeks.
I am a TCU believer because of how explosive they are.
Go Horned Frogs.
They are explosive, and I think being explosive matters. I think they have the best wide receiver in the country in Quentin Johnston, and I think his ability to win those 50-50 balls, the fact that they are – what are they? They're 7 plays behind Tennessee in terms of plays over 40 yards. So we've got Tennessee, we've got Ohio State, TCU, and TCU's ahead of Alabama in plays over 40 yards. I think that means that, and this is something I think about a lot when I think about football, touchdown. If the difference between a team like an Iowa, who has a very good defense, and a team like TCU has an okay defense, but has an explosive offense, is a touchdown's 1 play. 1 play. That's all it takes. You played at Clemson. Y'all had plenty of 1-play touchdowns.
Right. They changed the momentum of the game.
And that's a different. They changed the momentum of the game. They changed the score of the game.
Yeah, that too. Facts.
Like they changed the score of the game. Like it's not the same. Like, oh wow, we were down by 3 and now we're up by 4. And all we had to do was play football for 12 seconds. And TCU has that capability, and I think that's the reason that I feel like they're legit. That's all. I think they win this weekend. I'm excited for them.
I'm glad you mentioned Quentin Johnston, because he's a guy that I don't think gets enough love from not just us, but from everybody. I mean, every time I flip on a TCU game, I swear to God, that kid is making a big play. He actually reminds me of a guy, Darian's going to like this, or maybe he's going to feel like I'm disrespecting his boy, but he reminds me of Mike Williams a little bit. Just a big-bodied receiver who can just win at the point of attack and be physical and has great hands. To me, he's a guy that I think I almost made him my 3-star a couple of weeks ago, but that was the week that Jalen Hyatt had like 6 touchdown receptions, so it couldn't happen. But
he's going crazy right now.
I'll tell you right now, though, with TCU, we can say, like, give them credit, right? If you look back at the last couple of weeks, I mean, they found themselves 18 points down to Kansas State on the ropes, and regardless of whether it was luck or not, like, they had to earn that comeback, and they shut the door, and they did. A week before to Oklahoma State, they were down 2 touchdowns, and Oklahoma State had issues offensively in that game, but TCU stormed back and made the big plays when they needed to. So they've earned this position that they're in, even if we want to call them lucky. However, while we may talk about the future schedule and say that it opens up for them, they still got to go to Texas. They still got to go to Baylor. And if I had to put a chip on whether or not they would lose one of those 2 games, I think I would still lean they blow one of them. And I don't know which one. But look, this Big 12 conference this year, there's not a lot of separation to me between number 1 and number 6, number 7. So
I'm not trying.
Done it. Yeah,
I'm not trying to play Texas.
No.
That looks out. Look, it's gonna be interesting. I think some of the rankings don't really prove how good teams are.
Yeah, not if Quinn Ewers wipes the hair out of his eyes. Also, that might help him a little bit. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. All right. We're gonna move to our picks now. Let's welcome producer Dagan Hughes. I'm sorry, Jesus, Dagan Hughes.
What was that, Greg?
I know. Look, this is you and me are enemies now because you already know my MLB pick for the bonus.
That is true.
Listen, we're gonna go in order tonight. Darian's gonna lead us off. Then we're gonna go to Felder. We'll come back to me, and then we will go to Dagan Hughes. We've got 12 games to get through. I'll tee us off. East Carolina at BYU. Darian, who you got?
I like the Cougars.
Are you kidding me, dude? You know I'm picking ECU, man. My parents went to school there. Give me that Holton Allers. Let's go, baby.
The spirit of Zach Wilson will prevail.
This game's in the mountains, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Then it's BYU. That's the pick. Dagan.
I'm with Felder, man. No quarter. Let's do it.
My man, you said it. The best slogan. The best slogan in all of college football. No quarter. And no disrespect to All In. No disrespect to whatever Michigan State's thing is. But no quarter is the best slogan in college football.
Yeah, Michigan State's got about 6 slogans right now and 3 more slogans than we have wins. Let's just move on. Oklahoma at Iowa State. Darian.
The Buckeyes.
Oh, I'm going Ohio State. Come on. Are we talked about this.
We're on the wrong game here,
Oklahoma at Iowa State.
Wait.
I'm going through
in the Cyclones.
I'm going through this list. Okay, I wrote the list down wrong.
Look, I got the list wrong. Too. It's a new list.
Look, I'm going with BV. I'm going with Britt Venables is keeping the season rolling. The Sooners get a dub.
Oh, yeah. I'm going Oklahoma, too. I'm sorry. I wrote it down the way that you emailed it to me.
Yeah, I keep everybody on their toes around here, right?
Hey,
we got to release them in importance of the game.
Felder, you ever seen an audible at the line of scrimmage, my friend? Sometimes we make adjustments, okay? Listen. I'm going Sooners, and I don't feel great about it, but they're more talented. Dagan, who you got?
I am going Iowa State in this game. I'm going with the upset.
Come on, Cyclones.
This Iowa State team has lost their 4 games. They've lost 4 in a row by 14 combined points. This team is not as bad as people think. And I don't know.
It's not that they're bad; it's that they can't finish.
Well, okay. Well, they may not be able to finish, but let's also not forget that Oklahoma put on possibly the 3 worst games you've seen, a 3-game stretch, worst games you've seen.
Yeah, but they're a different team with Dylan Gabriel in the game.
Felder, we'll see you Saturday night. All right. Give me the Cyclones.
All right, to the Big Ten, to maybe my vote for ugliest game of the week, Northwestern at Iowa. Darren.
I'm liking Northwestern.
Ooh, wow, amazing. I'm going Iowa. I don't know how they get to their average of 14 points, but they get there, and I'm going with Iowa.
If you watch this game, you're a sicko, but it's Iowa until proven differently. Dagan.
We like ugly. Give me Iowa and the under. 37.5. Give me the under. Let's get real ugly.
Let's make it real ugly, baby. All right, to a non-ugly game, or at least for one side, a non-ugly game. Florida against number 1 in the country, Georgia. Darian.
I'm going with Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia. Come on. I don't have to say anything else.
Yeah, it's Georgia. Dagan.
All right, that was quick. Georgia.
No questions asked. Cincinnati at UCF. D-Wrench.
I'm going with Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't think UCF is as good as folks have thought they would be, and so I'm going with Cincy. Let's go.
So solely because I'm a degenerate gambler and my instant reaction to this game told me Cincinnati's clearly the better team, I'm fading myself in this game, going with the home team. I'm taking UCF. Dagan.
Give me UCF as well. I don't really have a reason. I don't know. I just picked UCF, so let's just do it.
Dagan's own Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the road against Syracuse, fresh off the loss to your Clemson Tigers. Darien.
I like Syracuse. I like them getting back. You know what I'm saying? I feel they're about to they're having a hell of a year. They're going to continue to have a hell of a year. Syracuse.
Yeah, I'm going Syracuse as well. I think we're going to see a healthier Sean Tucker because he didn't play that much this past week, and I think that's going to be the difference maker here.
I look forward to the very odd Sean Tucker tweet after this game.
Please.
I think Syracuse is the better team. I'm done calling them lucky after the way that they made that a game against Clemson last week.
Yeah.
The orange.
Right.
So I normally pick in this Notre Dame game. I normally pick with my heart, but I have another game that is filling the void or filling the heart pick tonight, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the picks here. But so I'm going with this one with my head, but I'm still going Notre Dame. Give me the Fighting Irish. I think one thing that we saw last week with Syracuse, they struggled to stop the run against Clemson. The only thing Notre Dame can do on offense is run the football. So I like the matchup. Give me Notre Dame.
Dagan, what's the score? What do you think the score to this game is going to be?
Okay, now you're asking a lot of questions. All right, let's see. Score of this game. Give me 28-24 Notre Dame.
That's a good score.
Yeah, that feels right.
I could see it.
I know a little bit of football around here, guys. Right? I'm not just the guy that sits back here and clicks the buttons, right?
Just throwing this out here. Syracuse is 6-1 against the spread this year. They've been a very profitable team to throw your money on. Okay, to the ACC where we have Wake Forest, number 10 in the country, quietly Wake Forest, at Louisville. Darien.
You go Deeks.
Same. Listen, Wake is remarkably, they're a calculated football team. I love the way that they play football. They execute at a very high level.
Yeah, I like Wake. I like Sam Hartman. I like rooting for this team and watching this team, and maybe my heart's getting the best of me, but I think they're the better team. Dagan.
I feel like we need to give more credit to Wake Forest. Number 10 in the country. I couldn't tell you last time I mentioned them on this show. Maybe that's on me. I don't know who that's on, but we got to give these Demon Deacons a little
put some respect on the ACC, man.
Hey, man. Don't worry, Darren. If they win this game, they'll be back in. Don't worry.
Hey, that's a group play, and when we get a group play that's not the number one team in the country, obvious group play, we take a social around here. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
We gotta get Greg a new bottle.
We do need a new bottle. I tried to milk that like there was something left, but look, I'm looking ahead to Saturday night already. Let's go straight to it. The Spartans at the Wolverines. Darien.
Michigan. Not state. Just Michigan.
Yeah, just Michigan classic. Not the. By the way, that campus, goodness, man, it looks like Army barracks.
No comment on that. Look, I want to make the pick with my heart so badly, but there's one thing I will never do. I've said it on the show multiple times. I will never lie to the people, and the people need to know that Michigan State is going to take an early lead in this game. I'm thinking 7-0, maybe 3-0, but 7-0 around the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. I can see it. And then they're going to lose 44-7. Michigan runs them out of the building. Dagan.
Give me Michigan. That's easy. We don't need to talk about it too much. Let's just move on.
That's another social, and I'm out of alcohol, so let's move on. Darien, Ole Miss at Texas A&M.
It's getting ugly for Jimbo. I'm going Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm Ole Miss as well. I think Lane Kiffin has a real bounce back after losing last week.
Could this be 3 straight socials? Because I'm on Ole Miss. Dagan.
I don't know what the hell is going on in College Station, but whatever it is, it's not going to help them win this game. So give me Ole Miss.
Wow, cheers. All right, Big 12, Oklahoma State at Kansas State with quarterback questions. Darien.
Oklahoma State.
Give me the Pokes, dude. I'm rolling with the Pokes.
I mean, you're going to make me run to the fridge and grab another drink, but I'm on the Pokes. Dagan.
Yeah, you already know where I'm going with this one. Give me Oklahoma State, but if Adrian Martinez plays, could be a little bit different of a game. Still going with Cowboys, but it could be a little bit different of a game.
I'm literally running to grab a drink because I abide by my social rules, so buy me some time here. Kentucky, Tennessee, Darien.
Kentucky, Tennessee. Look, I want Hendon Hooker to win the Heisman. That's the bro. I want him to win the Heisman. But I could see Kentucky getting this game. I'm gonna go with my heart. I'm gonna go with the balls. But just know, when y'all say Kentucky, you got a good nudge for me.
What do you think the final score of this game is?
If who wins? If Tennessee wins?
Tennessee wins.
Tennessee wins 55-30, like 56-35.
Okay, yeah, okay, and which is why I'm saying Tennessee. Thank you.
Right, yeah. I feel like if they win, it's gonna be by a good little margin.
I'm gonna flip it. I think that dice roll that Tennessee's been rolling continues, and they're in a tight game late, and they win by one score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. But I will rock with the Vols. Dagan.
You've been hearing me say it all year. We buy hooker around here. Give me Tennessee.
Okay.
You guys may not say that, but that's been what
I'm glad we got the extra trade.
What?
Look at it.
We're buying hooker all year long. We don't stray. Give me Tennessee.
The hooker in the Hyatt to Ohio State at Penn State. Darien.
Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to be singing Carmen, Ohio. It's game over. This is going to be a blowout. Like, I truly don't think this is going to be a close football game.
I'm just counting up how many picks in a row we've all agreed upon.
They're all going to be wrong.
That's 5 in a row that all 4 of us have agreed upon. And because of that, gentlemen, I'm changing my pick. I submitted Ohio State. I'm going Nittany Lions here. I think something's going to happen to this Ohio State. Listen, CJ Stroud has made mistakes in games that it hasn't mattered. Okay, he threw a pick 6 against my Michigan State Spartans. He was kind of loose with it against Iowa, and sadly, it was Iowa, so it didn't matter. If he does that in this game, it's going to matter. And I'll be the differentiator. I will take the Nittany Lions. Dagan, what do you got?
Well, Greg, I hope none of us go undefeated because it's going to be one loss on your record for this weekend. But Penn State fans, you have Fox to blame for this game not being close. If this game's at night, a whiteout, totally different game. It's at noon. Give me Ohio State by a lot.
I don't care if they played this game on the moon. Ohio State is going to beat their brains in.
Well, they're going to look for a reason for why it wasn't close. We'll just give them the reason that Fox put it at noon and didn't let it be played at 7:30.
All right, what else we got?
Yeah, I know our boy Hack's out there somewhere, and I just hope he's proud of me for that. I did my best, Hack.
Shout out to Hack.
Yeah. All right, we have to end with a bonus. The World Series starts tomorrow, and if you don't know, Felder's got a team with stakes here. Dagan's got a team with stakes. It's the Felder-Dagan Bowl. Phillies, Astros.
And Clint, you can't forget Clint. He's not here, but he's also
and Clint. Well, Clint, yeah, you know where Clint. He's in the candle room right now.
That's right.
We're gonna go and make our World Series pick. We're also gonna give the number of games in this series. So Darien, who you got, and in how many games?
Y'all gonna be so disappointed in me. It's 5 games in the World Series.
7. Best of 7. Best of 7.
Best of 7.
That's all right. That's all right. This is good. This is good.
Yeah. Look. I have not a baseball guy at all. I'm gonna go with the Astros solely because one of my coaches was a foreign pitcher, Bill Spires.
Yeah,
he coaches at Clemson now, so he was a foreign pitcher for the Astros. That's the only reason I'm doing that. I think I like the Phillies colors a little bit better, but we'll go to the Astros.
Listen, I'm an Astros.
And then I guess what's the minimal games?
4.
What's the least?
4 is the
you have
least.
to win 4.
Yeah. First thing to win 4.
So it's just like NBA.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna just go off the whim and say it goes to six games.
Astros in 6. All right. Fair enough.
Hey, whenever we start the field of 10 or whatever the baseball version of this would be, Darien, I don't think you're getting a phone call. Just to warn you.
Yeah, hey, I'll be busy.
Yeah, there we go. All right, Felder, give us the case.
I'm gonna go Astros in 6. I mean, let's be real, man. McCullers, Verlander, I think they're gonna get the job done, and then we're gonna have to kind of come back around to get back to those guys. I also think that the reality of it is this is a team that, I mean, listen. Do I love Yuli? Absolutely. Have loved him forever. He and I are the same age, which, you know what? We stand a 38-year-old king. So I'm rooting for him. I love Altuve. He's maybe my favorite baseball. The fact that I have 2 of my favorite baseball players are guys that are under 5'7", between Biggio and Altuve. Love both of those guys. Both of them played for the Astros. Shout out to Bregman when we rep LSU all day. So I'm going, listen, we stand the Astros. You see the hats in the back. You see all those bad boys. I keep them fresh. So I'm going Astros. I'm gonna try to watch as much as I can. Listen, you guys keep me busy at night, so we'll see how much I get to watch.
Felder, you have no idea, Felder.
You're not wrong. You two are both not wrong. All right. So I feel like I'm choosing between loved ones here because Dagan knows how much I've enjoyed this Phillies run with him as a better little bit too. I've been sprinkling with the heartstrings, but man. By the way, I need to pull my bat up. When we're talking baseball, I bring the bat up.
I should go get my bat.
Listen, when we talk about this Astros team quickly, they have the chance to do something very special. They have the chance to go undefeated in the postseason. How insane is that? They're approaching the World Series, and they have not lost a playoff game. So for reason number one, I think this team's the better team. I think this team is on the verge of something unprecedented. Yordan Alvarez is an animal. What he did to both of those first two series they played is just ridiculous. But also, simply put, I respect cheaters. And the Astros are cheaters. Bang the trash cans, baby. Let's get a win at all costs. Houston in 4. Dagan, I'm sorry. We sweep the Phillies. Dagan, who you got?
Greg. What are we doing here, man? Come on now. What was that? What was that? I've been waiting all show for this moment right here. So I'm just going to break it down. I'm going to break the whole series down for you right here in a minute and a half. Phillies going to Houston, game 1 tomorrow night. They steal one from Justin Verlander. Yes, you can call me crazy. I know Justin Verlander is probably the best pitcher in the AL. I get it. I understand. They steal one from Justin Verlander tomorrow night. The Astros will get the better of Zach Wheeler in game 2. We go back to Philly, 1-1. Phillies get the first 2, 3 and 4. Yeah, give me that look, Felder. Give me that look. They're going to steal 3 and 4. It's going to be 3-1 going to game 5. I'm going to be losing my mind in game 5. It's probably going to take 10 years off my life. The Astros are going to win that game because Verlander's going to be back on the mound. So we'll give Verlander that one. We'll give him that.
So we're going all the way to 7?
No. We're going to 6. Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies. He has been the guy that has been the difference for them all season long. Probably one of the most consistent players, I've got to say, for them all season long because the Phillies have been a roller coaster of a ride. They win it in 6 in Houston. Dancing on My Own is playing all over Broad Street. They're greasing the poles, or I should say lubing them up because I don't know. We talked about this before. Felder, there's an adult entertainment company sent some stuff down to Philly for the poles. But if you got to grease them, let's do it. Greasing the poles, Broad Street's gonna be a party. Give me the Phils in 6. Party like it's 2008, baby. Let's go.
You know what this tells me? Neither one of you guys are prepared for a 7-game series. If you're going to pick the team at 6.
I'm fully prepared. I'm prepared.
Oh, I don't know. I think there's going to be some nerves, Dave. We might need to call in the backup.
There's already been nerves. You think
when's the last time the Phillies won the World Series?
2008.
2008. Okay.
Not that long.
Well, it feels like it's been a long time.
I mean, it's been a long time since you made the playoffs, but as far as like winning titles go, 2008 is not that long.
Well, here's the Astros won obviously in 2017. I'll never forget. I'm back in the house that I lived in when they won. After living in Chicago for 4 years, I'm back here, and I laid down on the floor and was like, was I whiskeyed up? Of course. I laid down on the floor and my wife came down and saw me crying a little bit because I never thought that the Astros would ever win the World Series.
I will say when the Phillies won 2008, I didn't cry because I was a little too young to kind of really fully understand the whole thing. But when the Eagles won 2017, a tear or two may have been shed.
It's like when you have a team that you think is never going to win, whether it's a national championship in college football, to tie it back into what we do here on the show, or a team you never think is going to win the World Series, or a team you never think is going to win the NBA Finals. I was a Mavericks fan, and the fact that the Mavericks won the Finals was insane.
Yeah,
I quit my job.
Dagan, the moment that you should have known that your World Series hopes died is the moment that we found out that Felder was whiskeyed up on the floor in the house that he still lives in.
I also forgot to mention that me and Clint Stern may have a little side bet going on.
I like it.
I'm not going to say what it is. I'm just going to say we have a bet going on because when it is revealed who lost the bet, it's going to be much better than if I tell you what it is right now. So
there it is. I love it.
We're just going to leave it at that. So
I love it.
Go. Phil's in 6. Ride it all the way till the end. I'll take Phil's in 7. I'm ready. Let's do it.
I guess if either one of you pick 7, I'd feel more confident. And that was a fantastic teaser to all of our listeners and watchers at home, stay tuned with what we've got cooking on the Field of 12 network. There's a lot more football to discuss, and there's a lot more hilarious moments that will come down. Felder, Darien, thank you so much for being here. For both of these guys, my name is Greg Waddell. For producer Dagan and everybody behind the scenes here, we will see you Saturday evening after Michigan State on the Field of 12 After Dark.